The human voice. It's the instrument that we all play. It's the most powerful sound in the world, probably. It's the only one that can start a war or say I love you. And yet, many people have the experience that when they speak, people don't listen to them. And why is that? How can we speak powerfully to make change in the world? What I like to suggest, there are a number of habits that we need to move away from. I've assembled for pleasure her seven deadly sins of speaking. I'm not pretending this is an access to beliefs, but these seven, I think, are pretty large habits that we can all fall into. First, gossip. Speaking ill of somebody who is not present, not a nice habit, and we know perfectly well. Do nothing gossiping. 5 minutes later, we'll be gossiping about us. Second, judging. We know people who are like this in conversation, and it's very hard to listen to somebody if you know that you're being judged and found wanting at the same time. Third, negativity. You can fall into this. My mother in last year of life became very, very negative, and it's hard to listen. I remember one day I said to her, "It's October 1 today," and she said, "I know, isn't dreadful?" It's hard to listen when somebody's that negative, and another from of negative complaining. Well, this is the national art of the UK. It's our national sport. We complain about weather, sport about politics, about everything. But actually, complaining is a viral misery. It's not spreading sunshine in lights in the world. Excuses were all meet this guy. Maybe we'll all win this guy. Some people have a flamethrower. They just pass it on to everybody else. And again, hard to listen to somebody who is doing like that. Penultimate, the 6-7, embroidery, exaggeration. It demands our language actually sometimes. And again, hard to listen to somebody who is being like that. Penultimate, the 6 of 7, embroidery, exaggeration. It demands our language actually sometimes. For example, if I see something that is really awesome, what do I can eat? And then of course, is this is exaggeration become lying. And we don't want to listen to people who know are lying to us. And finally, dogmatism. The confusion of facts with opinions when those two things get confused. You're listening into the wind, you know? Somebody is bombarding you with the opinions as if they were true. It's difficult to listen to that. So there are seven deadly sins of speaking. These are things I think we need to avoid. But also, if you're really wishing somebody well, it's very hard to judge them at the same time. I'm not even sure you can do these things simultaneously to heal. Also, now that's what you say, and it's like the old song is that you say. It's also the way that you say it. You have an amazing toolbox. Its instrument is incredible, and yet this is a toolbox the very people who have ever opened. I'd like to have a little rummage in the way and just pull a few fools out that you might like to take away and play with, which will increase the power of your speaking. Register, for example. Now, false to register may not be very useful most of the time, but the register between. I'm not going to get very technical about this. For any of you who are voice coaches, you can locate your voice however. So if I talk up here in my nose, you can hear the difference if I go down here in my throat, which is where most of us speak from most of the time. But if you want weight, you need to go down here to chest. You heard the difference? We vote for politicians with a lower voice. It's true, because we associate depth with power and with authority. That register, we have more timber. It's the way your voice feels again. The research shows that we prefer voice with a rich, smooth warmth like hot chocolate. But is there a positive way to think about this? Yo, there is. I like to suggest that there are four really powerful cornerstone foundation that we can stand on if we want our speech to be powerful and to make the change in the world. Fortunately, these things spell a word. The word is whole, and it has great definition as well. I'm not talking about the stuff that falls from the sky and hit twin on head. I'm talking about this definition to great acclaims aesthetically, which is how I think awards will be received. If we stand on these four things, so what do we stand for? Say, if you can guess, the H, honestly, of course, being true in what you say, being straight and clear, and A is authentically, just being yourself. A friend of mine described that standing in your truth, which I think is a lovely way to put it. The I is integrity, being a word, actually being what you say and being something people can trust. And that L is love. I don't mean romantic love, but I don't mean wishing people well for two reasons. First of all, I think absolutely honestly may not be what we want. I mean, my goodness, you look ugly this morning. Perhaps, perhaps that's not necessary. Tempered with love, of course, honesty is a great thing. Well, if that's not you, that's not the end of the world because you can train. Go and get a voice coach. And there are amazing things you can do with breath, with posture, with exercise to improve the timbre of your voice. Then, prosody. I love prosody. This is a sing song, the metalingual, that we use in order to impart of meaning. It's the root one for meaning in a conversation. People who speak all on what note are really quick and hard to listen to if they don't have any past prosody at all. That's where the word monotic comes from, our monotus monotone. Also, we have repetitive prosody now coming in, where every sentence ends as if it were a question, when it's actually not a question. It's a statement. And if you repeat it one, it's actually restricting your ability to communicate through prosody, which I think is a shame. So let's try and break the habit. Peace. Lynn, get you very excited by saying something really quickly, or I can show right down to emphasize. And at the end of that, of course, it's our old friend silence. There's nothing wrong with a bit of silence in a talk, is there? We don't have to fill with the ums and ahs. It has very powerful. Of course, pitch often goes along with peace to indicate arousal, but you can do it just with pitch. Where did you leave my key? Higher pitch. Where did you leave my key? So slightly different meaning in those two deliveries, and finally volume. Love clean yet really excited by using volume. Sorry about that if I started anybody. Or I can have you really pay attention by getting very quick. Some people broadcast the whole time. Try to do that. That's called sarcasting. Imposing your sound on people around you, careless and inconsiderately. Not nice, of course. Where all comes into play most of all is when you've got something really important to do. It might be standing on a stage like this and giving a talk to people. It might be imposing marriage, asking for a rest, a wedding speech. Whatever it is, It is very important. You owe it to yourself to look at these fallbacks and the engine that it's going to work on. And the engine works well without being warmed up. Warm ups your love, your voice. Actually, let me show you how to do that. Would you like to stand up for a moment? I'm going to show you the 6 vocal warm-up exercise that I can do before every I talk I ever do. Every time you're going to talk to anybody important, do this. First, arms up, deep breath in, and sigh out. Like that. One more time. Very good. Now we're going to warm up our lips and we're going to go ba 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 ba. Very good. And now brrr, just like when you need a kid. Brrr. Now for your lips should be coming alive. We're going to do the tongue next with exaggerated la 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 la. Beautiful. You're getting all good. And at this, and then roll and rrrr. That's like jumping for the tongue. Finally, and if I can only one, the pros is high. The ow is low. So you go. We ow, ow. Fantastic. Give yourself a round of applause. Take a seat. Thank you. Next time you speak, do those in advance. Now let me just put it context to close. This is a serious point here. This is where you are now, right? We speak not very well to people who simply aren't listening. In an environment that's all about noise and bad acoustic, I have talked about that on this stage in different phases. What we would like if we were speaking powerfully so to people who were listening consciously, or to make that a bit longer, that would the world be like if we were creating sound consciously and consuming sound consciously and designing all our environments consciously for sound? That would be a word that does sound beautiful and one where understanding would be norm. And that is Andia wrote spreading. Thank you.